So, OP confronts Luke and Amy when the kids are at school. Dun dun dun. So the responses were perfect, and it seemed like well rehearsed, you know. So Amy's angry and offended and betrayed, and Luke just seems heartbroken. And like they're making arguments like, but OP, you never objected to us being alone before. Like you never told us you had a problem with that. So why now all of a sudden is that like a big issue? And then they're like, do Amy's kids really look like Luke, or do they just have the same hair color? Like, you know? And then like, why would you think that? And why are you bringing it up now, basically, you know? And she doesn't really have answers for a lot of those things. So Luke is apologizing for anything he might have done to make OP think like he would have, you know, done something like that. And then OP asks Amy directly why, like who fathered her children. And Amy snaps. She's like, that's not your business. Why you asking me? Like, that's freaking, you know, maybe it's like a touchy subject. I don't know, but she freaking goes crazy, you know? And then OP also snaps back and she's like, it's not that much to ask after me and Luke helped you out all these freaking years, you know? And then Amy's like, it wasn't even you that helped me. It was Luke and his parents. So Luke is trying to calm everything down. OP asks Luke for a paternity test and he looks really hurt, but he agrees. He's like, okay, yeah. Amy refuses. And she's pissed off now. She's like, oh, hell no, you're not getting DNA from my kids, you bitch. So Luke is trying to convince Amy, but she's like, not. She's like, hell no. I hate this. Like, this person's stupid. OP sucks right now, you know. She's very insulted.
You'd only be that defensive if you have something to hide. If you have nothing to hide, you'd be like, okay, fine, take it.
I mean, that or if someone pissed you off, you know, she's being accused of all this stuff, and then she's like asked who the father of her parents are, and maybe the father of her kids are, and maybe that's like a touchy subject for her. So now she's full on defensive mode, you know? She's like, oh, hell nah. So they all still agree.
Hold up.
What, yes?
So, does Luke's parents know about all the children too?
We're gonna get into that.
Oh.
They come into the story, I think, in the next update, so don't worry.
Oh, God. We're all okay. Continue.
So they all still agree that that Tom and Sophie shouldn't date, right? They're still all in agreement about that. But OP and Luke both think that it's unethical to swipe their, like, Amy's kids' DNA. So they won't do it. Like, even OP is like, no, I'm not going to do that, right? And Luke thinks that OP and Amy can still be friends, but if they were to take the DNA behind her back, that would be over, you know? Luke went to go see Amy and spent the night to perform damage control.
Damage control. Okay. Damage control.
This is the part where I would have called for divorce. This is the... Even if he didn't cheat, it's like...
That's basically taking like that person's side over your wife. What happened?
That's what I'm saying.
What happened to your wedding vows, bro?
That's what I'm saying.
Hello.
Like, even if literally nothing ever happened between them, and like, you know, your wife comes to you with this serious issue that she genuinely thinks might be happening, and you go and sleep at the girl's house. That's so messed up.
Damage control my ass. Wait, so how did OP react to this? Did him just like going to do damage control?
OP is not happy. OP's like pissed off, and they had a long conversation about that afterwards. So according to Luke, Amy needs time to cool off. But, you know, she will cool off eventually, right? So Opie and Luke tell their kids that they had a fight and they're taking a break from each other. So Opie and Luke take their kids to Luke's parents' house. The parents notice OP and Luke are kind of distant and ask about it. When Luke isn't there, they ask OP about it, and OP tells them everything. Luke's mom gives Luke's dad a look, and she sighs dramatically.
No!
Luke's mom has had the same suspicions for years. But Luke's dad is like, nah, man. They are like siblings and they wouldn't do that. So Luke's mom argues that just because they took Amy in like a daughter, that doesn't mean that they view each other like siblings. So that's something that wasn't really said in the first post, is that like, it seems like, from what I'm gathering, it seems like Luke's parents took in Amy. So they were raised like siblings. So they kind of literally are like siblings in that sense. I don't know if it's exactly like they adopted her, or maybe like OP and Amy's kids, like maybe they just hang out a lot. It seems like they have the same idea, that they took her in as their own kid in a way.
Waiting for that one plot twist where the dad has done the same thing as the freaking and that's why he's being so protective. I'm just waiting for that plot twist right now. Literally waiting.
Well, that's the end of that update. So imagine reading this and then you have to wait a few days for the next update, man.
I could never. I could never.
So this is the next update. It's rather short. So OP decides that she has to warn Sophie and Tom immediately.
Sophie and Tom. Oh,
That's
the children.
Her kid and then Amy's kid, yeah. So she secretly keeps Sophie out of school. Like skipping a day of school, you know.
Oh, just a day, right? Not like, okay.
Yes. What? She doesn't need like a month to explain.
Continue.
So Opie explains that she thinks that Tom might be Luke's kid. Sophie goes quiet and says they need to tell Tom. Opie agrees. And Sophie texts Tom and he comes out. So Opie explains everything again to Tom. Sophie and Tom give each other a look.
Why?
And they tell Opie they already had the same suspicions.
Wait, hold up. They had the same suspicion, but they wanted to date each other?
Keep listening. So Tom overheard some questionable conversations, you know, and sounds from Amy's room that sounded like lovemaking. Unsure, but it sounded like it.
Children were at home. When the children were at home and awake?
So Tom eventually tells Sophie. Tom. No comment. So Tom eventually told Sophie what he thought, and she agreed. So Tom and Sophie, they both came up with this plan to act like they wanted to date, so that Luke and Amy were forced to say something. But they were confused because OP said something first instead of them, like Luke and Amy. So Tom volunteered to submit his DNA. And he's also...
Oh my God.
So they got the DNA. And he's trying to set up a camera in Amy's room. Which is weird,
Tom
but...
did?
Which is weird. No,
Bro, you want to see your parents have sex?
That's what I'm saying. He was trying to set up a camera. I guess like more so than like what, you know, he could just see the lead up, even just a kiss and be like, okay, it's freaking over, you know. He could stop the cameras before. Anyway, so Sophie told OP to divorce Luke. She's like, you gotta get rid of him. You know, I know he's my dad, but really. So that's the end of that update.
Freaking okay. If everybody has a freaking suspicion, then you know something is wrong here.
And that's what kind of like OP finally snaps, and she's like, "Yep, my own daughter is telling me to divorce her dad. It's freaking over, right?"
And freaking Amy's son is also saying, "Oh yeah, I thought so too."
Yeah,
you know there's an issue.
Yeah,
and even if it's not for that. like straight out saying, "Oh, I think they're just like having sex in the room whenever he's over." Like, bro, what the fudge? What? What?
I'm no comment. So here's the next update. So Tom and Sophie ask Luke's mom for help submitting the DNA. OP hasn't heard whether or not they've submitted yet or if there have been any results back yet. She's a little busy doing other stuff, you know? So OP's lawyers tell her that OP's name is on the paperwork for the house and not Luke's.
Oh, shit!
So she's like, let's freaking go, get in the lottery. Nice. Apparently they were going to.
Doesn't do that.
They were going to, like there was a plan to put Luke's name on it, but it never happened. So she got very lucky. Mm-hmm. But anyway, either way, it's a good thing for OP that, you know. So OP starts looking through Luke's phone. Because the last time she looked through his phone was months ago.
The phone looking has begun.
Yep, it's begun. Like back when Tom and Sophie started to show signs of wanting to date, she originally looked through his phone, but some commenters on Reddit told her how to find deleted messages. So she checks again when Luke is sleeping. And I think from the story, I think this is in the morning when Luke is like still asleep and OP woke up first. Luke and Amy's conversations were deleted. She found them. And it seems like they expected this conversation eventually. So it's sketchy, still not 100% proof, but it's looking not great, you know? So she goes back further and the messages seem a bit more flirty. She goes back more. 5 days before she confronted them, Amy sent Luke a topless picture.
What?
With no shirt and no bra. And then I didn't add this into my notes, but I do remember OP lamenting that Amy had bigger breasts than her. Anyway. I don't know if that's important or not.
That's OP's skill issue, but it's okay. She can make up for those boobs by being a respectful woman. Thank you.
Drow! So Luke
other freaking friend is acting like a freaking. Please excuse my language. I usually don't cuss like this.
Oh,
but
shit.
Wait, where's my sunglass thing?
Oh, it's coming out.
You know what? Fudge the sunglass. I don't care. When the freaking Amy girls is acting like a whore, I don't think the boobs matter.
Not a whore. A whore.
Like, holy shit.
Yeah, it's kind of going down. So
What?
she goes through his photos because now she knows how to check for deleted photos as well. So Luke had deleted more photos of Amy. Photos together, naked photos together, videos of Amy going back years. She finds letters exchanged between Luke and Amy that say "our children" and suggests Amy's second oldest is Luke's kid. And that child is 14 years old. So at least back 15 years. Okay. OP changes Luke's password so he can't delete anything and calls her lawyer and gives them the laptop and phone.
So she
And not at night.
stole like his laptop and phone, or did she like transfer the data away from?
She
like,
stole
those
the laptop and
devices,
phone. So OP packs all of Luke's stuff while he's sleeping into trash bags and loads it into his car. And then she finally wakes him up and tells him to go outside. And he's like all dazed and confused. He's like, what? How did he? She finally gets him outside and she gives him divorce papers. And Luke tries to like plead with her. And then he like straight up just refuses to go. But eventually he leaves. But before he does, he's asking about his phone and laptop. And OP's like, I don't know, they're in one of the bags or something. Shut up. So he leaves. OP realizes that she eventually has to wake the kids and tell them what happened. So she wakes Sophie first and tells her because, you know, and she tells her that she found proof of an affair. But she doesn't tell like exactly what it was, you know? OP didn't tell the kids that the divorce is confirmed, except for Sophie. So OP's second oldest kid straight up comes up to her and asks if it's about Amy and Luke, and if Luke is gonna be with Amy instead of OP.
Oh my god!
So all the kids have been thinking this apparently. Like,
both the parents and the kids. You know, there's an issue with all of them. They suspect this.
yep. Obviously, it seems like everyone had suspicions. Like even the OP, right, had suspicions, but no one said anything.
Questioned it.
Well, they questioned it. That's what a suspicion is, but they didn't.
Vocally.
Yeah, right? So, I don't know. I guess for everyone, it was like, that's why it seems like there was always like a kind of inkling, but there was no solid proof that like it 100% was happening, right? Okay, so the lawyer gets all the records and then she eventually brings the laptop and phone back. And then Luke comes to the house demanding them back like a few days later. And OP's like playing dumb and she's like, oh, I don't know. I guess they were just like lying around. I thought I put them in the bag, whatever. So he doesn't know that like, you know, she got the stuff from his laptop. So then OP talks to Luke's mom. And it turns out that Luke stayed with his parents and not Amy. But she's also thinking like maybe he would have maybe he's not that stupid to think that would have looked good for him, you know? But it's also, you know, it's a little interesting. So Luke told his parents that OP is having a mental breakdown. And he wishes he could help her. But he didn't mention Amy at all. Like, remember that it was OP that told Luke's parents about the whole situation, but Luke wasn't around for that. So
yeah,
he doesn't know that they know about her suspicions. And it seems like he's not telling them at all that Amy's involved. And Luke's mom believes OP. And Luke's dad doesn't know what to believe. He's just lost at this point.
I mean, at this point, if he continues to protect like his freaking son, then I'd be like, oh, he probably did the same thing. He's speaking from experience.
So Tom told Sophie that Amy is acting like she's perfectly okay at home, but she's clearly stressed out. And it seems like the same is the case for Luke. Okay, so there's another update. The kids ask, and OP tells them that it's adult problems. It's nothing to worry about, you know, like, but Sophie warns OP that like the kids are getting ready to confront her. And they do. And the kids ask if Luke is cheating with Amy.
Oh my god! Everybody!
And OP just says, I believe he did, yes. And that's it, right? And she thinks that the kids probably believe her, you know? Tom and Sophie have been texting a lot. And Amy's kids are also starting to doubt Luke and Amy's story, because apparently Amy is like saying the same thing that Luke is, that like OP is going through something mentally, and like, you know, she's like blaming
Luke
stuff, and you know, yeah. Luke's dad seems to be starting to believe OP's story. Because when OP and Luke's mom are like having a phone call, OP hears what sounds like Luke's dad shouting at Luke in the background. But Luke is like still straight up denying everything. Here's a major update though. The DNA results came back. Tom and Sophie are not related.
Wait, what? Wait. Hold on. Give me a second here. What?
So Reddit commenters are thinking, like in the comments, right? They're thinking maybe Luke's dad fathered Amy's kids for some reason.
What?
And that's why he was being so weird about it. But this is proof that he didn't, because otherwise the DNA would have matched, right? So Tom looks like Luke, but it must literally be a coincidence.
That's just as bad.
How is that as bad? They just look alike. What?
Maybe they got the wrong DNA. I don't know. maybe something went wrong with the DNA test. They should do it again.
How many times do you think is justified to do a DNA test if it doesn't
3.
show you the results you want? 3?
3 times. Sometimes you just gotta be extra sure, you know? Extra sure.
So anyway, Amy finally shows up at OP's house. And like, she's like, I want to talk. OP tells her to go away, but Amy's not leaving. And she's like, okay, well, I have cameras in my house. So if anything goes down. So Amy suspects that OP has taken data from Luke's devices, right? And she tells her to delete everything. Like, she's pissed. She's like, you got to delete everything. She's not even like confirming or denying anything. She's just like, you got to delete whatever you found on there. It's not your business. So eventually it gets so riled up.
It is her business if it's freaking adultery. What the fuck, bro?
So eventually Amy's getting so riled up that she smashes OP's laptop. And they have like a tussle and Amy physically attacks OP. But OP has cameras in her house, like I said, so she sends the footage to her lawyers and files a police report after she gets Amy out of her freaking house, right? That's the end of that update.
How many updates are there?
There's 2 left. One of them's very short. We're going overtime.
Okay. Oh, yeah, it deserves going overtime. We're working overtime today, guys. Free overtime.
So this is the last technical update. The last update is done in the comments. So this is the last real update. So Luke's father had a heart attack and he freaking dies.
What? This is so out of the blue. No. He just he went off of the story with a heart attack?
So
that is one of the last things I expected to come out of the story.
So he has a heart attack. So they're all at the funeral, right? So Amy kind of like apologizes for, she doesn't really say specifically, but she just says what happened before. She apologizes and they all agree, just like, today, you know, it's a funeral. Let's just not argue. Let's not really, you know, get too confrontational, whatever. So Luke's mom admits that she lied about sending in the DNA samples because she didn't want to go behind Luke's back.
I freaking called it. There's no way those DNA results are fake. Bro.
So Tom and Sophie might still be related. The lawyers finished searching and found what Amy didn't want OP to find on Luke's devices. However, in this post, OP does not tell us what that is. But there was something
it's gonna take
really
too long.
bad. There was something really bad in the evidence. And it explains why they never got married. Luke and Amy did something very bad, and OP doesn't even think she should say it, even anonymously online.
No, this entire story's gotta be fake. It's gotta be fake.
You're reading the comments and changing your mind after one person, you one guy motherfucker. You what? Someone just said that in the comments.
Oh, did they? I don't know. No,
I don't
actually, it can't be
believe you.
fake because it has to be fake because, like, after all that, it's like, oh, I found something bad, but I don't think I should say it. I'm like, what the fudge, bro?
Do you want to know what it is? Because, again, it's said in the next freaking update. I told you there was another update, and you didn't pay attention, and now you're looking like a little fool.
What is it?
OP confirms in the comments that Luke's dad fathered Amy with one of his students when he was a professor. So Luke and Amy are half siblings. And they started their relationship at 17. And they both knew that they were half siblings at the time.
No way. This can't be real. There's no way this can't be. So you were saying that's the okay? I bet you he didn't die of a... Okay, so let's say this entire story is true, however low the possibility is. That means
crazier things have
father,
happened. I don't know what you're talking about. Crazier things have happened.
That means the father didn't die of a heart attack. It's Amy. Amy freaking killed him in order to shut him up. Amy and Luke probably killed the father in order to shut him up. That's what happened.
What the hell? I think he had a heart attack because of everything that was coming out. And he literally, like, you know, that's why he was so against the idea that they were sleeping around, because he was like, no,
Wait, did the mom
they've
know?
known. What?
Did the mom know?
Yes.
About
That's
them
why
being
she's the one
half-siblings?
that tells, yes. But that's why the dad was so against the idea of, like, them dating. He was like, no way, we told them that they were half siblings when they were kids.
Somebody must be on AO3 writing fanfiction.
Like, here's the thing. Again, crazier things have happened. I don't know what you mean. Like, I've heard stories of, like, literally, you know, mothers getting together with their freaking daughter's fiance and stuff. And, like, Woody Allen exists.
I mean, this is worse than... Okay, no.
Because Amy and Luke share DNA, the kids would have automatically shared DNA anyway. So, understand this, right? That's why the mom didn't want to get the DNA test done. Because she knew that either way, the results were going to show that the kids were related. Because the parents are related.
The children did nothing wrong. The children did nothing wrong.
So the DNA test would have been moot either way.
I think I just something I have to process.
It's kind of messed up, man. I don't know, man. That's my story. It took a really long time for me to write all these points down.
Well, first off, before I finish processing this in my mind,
Yeah.
kudos, Clara. You are an amazing storyteller. Minus the fact that you are a storyteller that traumatizes me every single freaking time for some reason.